Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your testimony. I too remember the long lines in the 70s. What wasn't said is that, after waiting for 45 minutes or an hour with your car idling, and the lines backed up on the highway, and some people just topping off, and some people about to go empty, there were a lot of short tempers, and it was a very bad situation, wasting a lot of oil, gasoline. Were any studies ever made on how much waste there was with those long lines back in the 70s, Mr. Szymanski?
I don't think that EIA did, but I think you're absolutely right, Congressman Pitts, that the whole the idea behind the program, I think, made some sense at the time, but the implementation of it left a lot to be desired. A lot of the problems had to do with the availability of gasoline in different areas. It was based on the year-ago use, and as we got into the crisis, you didn't have enough people. In the prior year, were all out having vacations and outside of the cities, and that's where all the gasoline went. But during the crisis, they were all in lines in the cities, and so they couldn't get the gasoline to go out on their family holiday. It was a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
So actually, I worked on this program a bit when I was in the Department of Energy. You cannot imagine the small changes. People just think a refinery takes crude oil and processes it in gasoline, but they're blending dozens of components. And we were trying to control the prices of all of these. And every day there was enormous misallocation, shortages, the wrong kinds of mixes, because the market was completely surpassed by the government price control system. I mean, I don't think you can find anybody who's looked at this program that wants to defend it. I mean, it was an unmitigated disaster. It substantially delayed our capacity to even adjust to the crisis.
And in addition, after waiting for 45 minutes or an hour, the station, many of them would run out of gas. You'd have to go home, come back on another day. The average family, as we've heard, can expect to save several $100s a year if prices stay where they are. Administrator Szymanski, how can we maximize these benefits and sustain them over the long run?
Well, the benefit to household income is coming from lower oil prices, most of that coming in gasoline. The number of about $800 per household is right for a $30 decline that's from average prices last year that would be sustained for about a year. Those numbers could even be a little bit higher than that, depending on where oil prices settle out. That is going to have a pretty positive effect on ability of households to spend, and I think we'll begin to see the positive impact of that on the economy. EIA macroeconomists took a look at this and concluded that if we had this $30 decline sustained for a year, that it could add as much as 1% to U.S. GDP.
If the ban were lifted, what effect would it have on gasoline prices, and how would it impact our refinery sector? Do you want to continue, or?
Well, gasoline prices, again, if we stay at these levels, gasoline prices could be down almost 77 cents a gallon. That's again a huge plus, with gasoline prices averaging that much lower than the prior year. Obviously, there will be some losers, and the producers are going to have lower income. This could have big effects on countries like Venezuela and others that depend on oil revenues, and that could lead to unrest there. And this is why I think the idea that policies, that outcomes and forecasts are uncertain is really huge. If you lost the oil production from Venezuela because of social unrest there, you could see prices come back up again. I think in general, when I think about Mr. Yarmouth, about policies, EIA is not a policy organization, but I think I can describe the three components of energy policy. It's what does it mean for the economy, what does it mean for the environment, and what does it mean for national security? And you were asking about national security issues. I would imagine that a key thing in thinking about this is how to weigh those impacts from a policy standpoint. I think the Strategic Petroleum Reserve is probably our key tool in security.
Time's expired. Thank you.